Hi, this is Soumyadeep, and I welcome you to our YouTube channel Anyone Can eLearn. In our last video, we have learned about the offset function. Today, we will take two examples and see how the offset function would help us get the required result. And we will end this video with a question, and my request would be, if you are able to solve the question, please answer via YouTube comment section. Now for this video, I have used the same data set which I had used last time while explaining the offset function, except that I have included one more column here, which is a serial number column, and I have included this purposefully to show you one example wherein by using offset function, how can we do a lookup or get a very similar kind of outcome the way we get using any lookup function. The only difference would be my lookup value is placed on the rightmost part of the table, or it is the rightmost column of the table. In our case, this is the serial number column which we have created, and we will see how we will use the offset function to achieve the result. Prior to that, our first requirement is, based on the sales region, we will have to populate the corresponding sales rate, product sold, number of units sold, and the total sales value. For my example, I have taken EMEA as my sales region, and we will see if we change this EMEA region to JAPAC or LAD, how these corresponding values change. That is my first requirement, and we will now make use of our offset function. Now, if you have seen our previous video, you will know how the offset function works, and if you haven't, and if you need some tutorials on offset function, I would request you to check our first video on the offset function and then come back to this tutorial. So now we will see how we will use the offset function for our first example. But before we proceed, there is one requirement that needs to be fulfilled here. The table from which you would like to fetch the data, in this case, this is the table from which you will be fetching the data. This has to be sorted on sales region, because based on sales region, we will populate our other field. So if I have to use offset function, I will have to sort this data on sales region column, which is already done here. However, this can be done very easily using the sort option. We get under data, and here we get the sort. Here we can select the column on which we would like to sort, and then we can change the order A to Z or Z to A, or we can create our custom list as well. I am not going to that in today's tutorial. However, if you are interested, do explore this option. Since the data is already sorted, I am not going to sort this data once again. So I'll cancel it. But this is how you should be sorting the data if it is required. Now we will use the offset function. And there is one more thing that I'd like to point here is, along with the offset function, we will be using two more functions in order to achieve this result. So let's begin. I will write offset. Prior to using offset, let me use a match function here, and I will explain why I have used a match function. So my match function, as you must be aware, that it gives us the row number on which it finds an exact match if we are using exact match option. Here we will be using the exact match option, and we will see what is the value that we are getting here. So my lookup value is EMEA. I'll select this. My lookup array will be the sales region. I'll start from A9 to A14. I'll log this. And as I mentioned, I will go for the exact match, and it will return a value which is 1 here. So EMEA value is appearing in the first row of the given range. Now we will use the offset function and see how it works here. I will type offset. Now the first option that offset requires, the first argument that offset requires is the reference. I will give sales region this heading as my reference, which is A8 here. Now the second argument or the second parameter is the rows. Now my match function has actually returned that rows value. So I will keep that match function as it is. Then I will move to the calls or the column option here. Now in my column, I would like to start from the sales rep, which is the first column from the sales region, which is my EMEA. And then I would like to add the height. Now in this case, it is very clear that the regions are appearing twice, but if I do not know how many times my region will appear, what I will have to do is, I will have to use the countif function here. Countif function. Now the first argument of countif function is the range. My range is once again my sales region starting from A9 till A14. I'll lock this. And my second option is my sales region, and I would like to know how many times this EMEA is appearing within that region. That will give us the count, if will give us that value. I'll close this. So this gives me my height, which is 2 here, and then I'll have to specify my width. Now here I know that I will have to populate sales rep, product, units and sales, which is 4 in number. That is, my width will be 4 here. Now if I use this formula, that is, if I construct my offset function in this way, what will I get here is the corresponding values of sales rep, product, units sold and total sales of the region EMEA. Now if I change this EMEA to JAPAC, I get all the corresponding values for JAPAC. And then if I change this to LAD, I will get all the corresponding values of LAD. Once again, if I now look into this function, what I have done is, using the match function, I have got the rows value here. Offset, in offset function, the second argument is my rows, and if I get a positive value here, it means that I will have to go below that many rows from my reference. My reference here is A8. My reference here is A8. From here, using the match function, I will get my rows value. Then I know that I'll have to fetch data from sales rep onwards, which is one column. And if I write a positive value here, it means that I will move towards right. That is what I have mentioned. I have mentioned 1 because from sales region, one column means sales rep. Now I have, from this first 3 arguments within the offset, I have specified my starting point here. In case of LAD, it is sales rep Raju. Now from Raju, I have to move 1 row down and 4 columns, including Raju. Now the COUNTIF function, here gives me that height. Here the height is 2 because LAD is appearing 2 times. And I have hard coded this width as 4 because I know that I will have to fetch data for 4 columns, starting from, in this case, it is sales rep Raju. And if I use this formula, I get all the relevant fields corresponding to sales region LAD. So in this way, we can use a combination of offset, match and COUNTIF to fetch the details here as per our first requirement. I hope this is clear. If not, please feel free to put your question in the comment section, and I will definitely try to clear your doubts. Now moving on to our second example. As I had already mentioned that in our second example, what we will do, we will try to use the offset function and use it the way the lookup function works. Here also what we will do is, based on the serial number, we will try to fetch the details of total sales. Once again, I will use match function. My lookup value here is 1. My lookup array will be my serial number column starting from F9 to F14. I'll log this, and since I'm looking for an exact match, I will use 0 here. It will return a value which is 1. Now I will use the offset function once again, as we have seen in our earlier example. My reference here would be the serial number column heading, which is F8. Using the match function, I know where the serial number is, and that will be my rows. In this case, it is 1. Now in columns, I have to fetch the details of cells which is appearing on the left hand side. And if you have watched my first video on offset function, here I'll have to give a negative number. The negative number would be -1 because I am moving one column towards left hand side, and rest are my height and width. I do not require any height and width here because I am referring to only one cell. So I may keep it blank and I press enter, and what I get here is the corresponding total cells of serial number 1. Now if I change this serial number to 2, I'll get the corresponding total cells for serial number 2, and so on. If I use 6, I will get the total cells of serial number 6, which is here 5000. I will once again explain how we have achieved this. So what we have done in the beginning, we have used the match function. This match function gives us the row number in which my lookup value appears within the lookup array, and this becomes my rows value in offset. Then offset requires a starting point, which is my reference. In this case, I have used the cell F8, which is the column heading of serial number, and since I have to move towards left hand side by 1 because I am looking only for cells, I have given it as -1, and what I get here is the corresponding value of total cells based on serial number. I hope we have understood how the offset function works here. Once again, if you have any doubts, do reach us and we will try to answer your queries. Now, if we have understood this two examples, I have a question for you. And here is a question. Using this data set, we have to find all the products, units and cells of cells rep using the offset function. Once again, I reiterate, this is a data set from which you will have to fetch the product, the units sold and the total sales based on sales rep chosen. Please put your answers in the YouTube comment section, and if you have liked this video, do give us a thumbs up. Please share this video with your friends and colleagues, and do subscribe our channel. Anyone can e-learn. That's all for today. Thank you for your time. We meet once again and we will learn how to create dynamic ranges using this versatile offset function. Thank you.